they almost missed her. A father and his 2 daughters were hiking through Isdalen Valley on the morning of November 29th, 1970. Isdalen, the locals had another name for it: Death Valley. A smell pulled one of the daughters off the path, and there among the rocks, she found something that would stay with her for the rest of her life. A woman, lying on her back, burned beyond recognition. The police arrived within hours. What they found made no sense. The woman was approximately 5'4", brown eyes, long dark hair, between 25 and 40 years old. Her face was unrecognizable. The front of her body had been severely burned. Her hands were clenched up by her torso as if bracing for something. Around her were objects arranged with a strange deliberateness: an empty bottle of liqueur, 2 plastic water bottles, rubber boots, and a woolen jumper, an umbrella, a purse, a matchbox, a watch, 2 earrings, a ring, and underneath her body, a fur hat. Not Norwegian in style, more commonly seen in Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan. In 1970, both were part of the USSR. One of the forensic investigators would later tell the BBC it looked like there had been some kind of ceremony. Every single label on every single item had been cut off or scraped away. Her clothes, her bottles, her cosmetics, her eczema cream. Even the patient information on her prescription had been scratched off. There was nothing, not one single item, that could tell them who she was. The autopsy results only deepened the mystery. She had died from a combination of sleeping pills and carbon monoxide poisoning. 50 times the lethal dose of sleeping pills were found in her body. The official verdict was suicide. But the investigators who worked the case never believed it. Crime reporter Knut Havik was among them. She had various identities. She operated with codes. She wore wigs. She traveled from town to town and switched hotels after a few days. This is what the police call conspiratorial behavior. Personally, he said, I am totally convinced this was a murder. 3 days after the body was found, a station attendant at Bergen railway station called the police. 2 suitcases had been sitting unclaimed for over a week. Inside them, the investigators found a world that did not exist. Multiple wigs in different styles and colors, clothing with every label removed, currencies from Norway, Belgium, Switzerland, Germany, and England, maps and timetables, non-prescription glasses, sunglasses with a partial fingerprint on the lens that matched the dead woman, and 500 Deutsche Mark notes hidden in the lining of one case. And then, a notepad with entries written in code. Police broke the code. It was a list of dates and places, hotels she had stayed in, cities she had visited, movements she had made. And what they revealed was extraordinary. In the months before her death, this woman had traveled across Europe and Norway under at least 8 completely different identities. 8. Genevieve Lancier, Claudia Tielt, Claudia Nielsen, Alexia Zarna-Merches, Vera Jarl, Fenella Lork, Elizabeth Lienhauer, and at least one more. Every name was false. Every address was false. Every passport was forged. She had stayed in hotels across Oslo, Trondheim, Stavanger, and Bergen. She had traveled to Paris. She had traveled to Switzerland. Hotel staff who remembered her described the same woman every time. Fashionable, quiet, serious. She spoke poor English, but fluent German and Flemish. She changed rooms multiple times during single overnight stays. She marked the doors of her hotel rooms in different ways, as if checking whether anyone had entered while she was gone. One waitress remembered her dining next to two German Navy officers at dinner. She never made eye contact with anyone. Bergen in 1970 was not just a quiet Norwegian city. It was home to one of the largest naval bases in Norway. And in 1970, that base was conducting secret trials of a new weapon system, the Penguin missile. Norwegian intelligence confirmed that foreign spies were actively monitoring those trials. When the Norwegian secret police quietly opened their own file on the dead woman, separate from the official police investigation, the commander of the Norwegian Armed Forces made a note. The woman's movements corresponded exactly to the top-secret missile trials. The case was officially closed just weeks after the body was found. Some believed it was closed too soon. Some believed it was closed because what it pointed to was too large, too dangerous to be allowed to surface. In 2016, the case was reopened. Norwegian broadcaster NRK and the BBC launched a new investigation. Forensic scientists analyzed the chemical traces in her teeth. What they found narrowed everything down. She had grown up somewhere along the border between France and Germany. Around age 14, she had moved west, possibly just before or during the Second World War. She had learned to write in French or in a French-speaking country. Her age was closer to 40 than 30. A DNA profile was extracted from preserved tissue samples. Interpol issued a new international notice in 2017. Nobody came forward. A man in Forbach, France came forward in 2019 after reading a newspaper article. He said he had known her briefly in the summer of 1970. She spoke several languages with a Balkan accent. She received odd phone calls from abroad at strange hours. He had searched through her belongings one day while she was not there. He found wigs. He found clothes that looked like disguises. He suspected she was a spy. He never saw her again after that summer. She is buried in Bergen, in a zinc coffin, preserved, so that if anyone ever comes forward, she can still be identified. The gravestone reads, Ukjent Kvinne, unknown woman. No name, no date of birth, no country, no family. Just those two words. I think about what it takes to erase yourself so completely. Every label cut off, every name invented, every address false, every passport forged. She spent months moving through hotels, across an entire country, checking doors and changing rooms, and never making eye contact. Whatever she was doing, whoever sent her, whatever she knew, it got her killed. Or drove her to end it herself. We do not know which. We do not know her name. We do not know her face. We do not know where she was from, or who was waiting for her to come home. We only know that someone went to extraordinary lengths to make sure we never would. And that somewhere along the border between France and Germany, in a town we cannot name, there may be people who remember a girl who left one day and never came back and never explained why. The zinc coffin is still there, still waiting, still nameless, after more than 50 years.